Picture this, a world where gods walk among mortals, where heroes face unimaginable trials, and where every story holds a secret waiting to be uncovered. What if I told you that the myths of ancient Greece aren't just tales of fantasy, but windows into the very soul of human nature? These stories, passed down through generations, are more than just entertainment. They're a mirror reflecting the fears, hopes, and truths of an entire civilization. Today, we're diving into 30 of the most fascinating Greek myths, each one revealing a hidden truth about ancient Greek culture, philosophy, and the timeless struggles of humanity. From the chaos of creation to the fiery rebellion of Prometheus, from the tragic love of Orpheus to the cunning of Odysseus, these myths are packed with lessons that still resonate today. But here's the twist: these aren't just stories about gods and monsters. They're about us, our desires, our flaws, and our endless quest for meaning. So, if you're ready to uncover the secrets behind these ancient tales and see how they connect to your life, stick around. By the end of this video, you'll see Greek mythology in a whole new light, and maybe even discover something surprising about yourself. Let's begin this journey together. Now, let's step back to the very beginning, before gods, before heroes, before even the world as we know it existed. In the ancient Greek imagination, everything started with chaos. Not chaos as we think of it today, disorder or confusion, but chaos as a vast, empty void, a formless abyss where nothing yet existed. Out of this nothingness, the first beings emerged, setting the stage for the universe as we know it. From chaos came Gaia, the earth, solid and nurturing, and Tartarus, the deep, dark abyss beneath the earth. Then came Eros, the force of love and attraction, who would bind all things together. These primordial gods weren't just characters in a story. They represented the fundamental forces of existence. Gaia was the foundation of life, Tartarus the realm of the unknown, and Eros the spark that brought connection and creation. This myth wasn't just about how the world began, it was about balance. The Greeks saw the universe as a delicate interplay of forces, where creation and destruction, light and darkness, love and chaos were all intertwined. It's a reminder that even in the most ancient stories, there's a profound truth. Life is a dance of opposites, and every force has its place. So, what does this myth tell us about the ancient Greeks? It shows us a people trying to make sense of the world around them, using stories to explain the mysteries of existence. But more than that, it reveals a timeless truth, that creation often begins in chaos, and from that chaos, something beautiful can emerge. As we move forward, we'll see how these early forces shaped the gods, the heroes, and the world they inhabited. But for now, let's take a moment to appreciate the simplicity and depth of this first myth, a story that reminds us that even in the void, there's always the potential for something extraordinary. Now, let's journey forward from the primordial beginnings to a time when the world was ruled by the Titans, the powerful, ancient beings born from Gaia and Uranus. But this era of Titan rule wouldn't last forever. Enter Zeus, the youngest son of the Titan Cronus, who would rise to challenge the old order and ignite one of the most epic battles in Greek mythology, the Titanomachy, the War of the Titans. This wasn't just a clash of gods, it was a cosmic struggle between the old and the new. The Titans, led by Cronus, represented the established order, a world of raw power and unchallenged authority. But Zeus and his siblings, the Olympians, symbolized change, progress, and a new way of ruling. The war that followed was brutal and earth-shaking, with the Olympians ultimately emerging victorious, thanks to Zeus's cunning and the help of the Cyclopes and the Hundred-Handed Ones. What makes this myth so fascinating is its timeless symbolism. The Titanomachy isn't just a story about gods. It's a reflection of the eternal struggle between tradition and innovation, between the old god and the new. Think about it. Throughout history, we've seen this pattern repeat itself, from political revolutions to scientific breakthroughs. The old ways give way to the new, often through conflict and upheaval. But the myth also carries a deeper message about power and responsibility. Zeus didn't just overthrow the Titans for the sake of it, he sought to create a more just and balanced world. The Olympians' victory marked the beginning of a new era, one where order and justice were meant to prevail. Yet, as we'll see in later myths, even the Olympians weren't perfect. The Titanomachy reminds us that change is inevitable, but it's rarely easy. It's a story of upheaval, resilience, and the hope that something better can emerge from the chaos. And as we move forward, we'll see how this monumental shift set the stage for the rise of the Olympian gods and the heroes who would shape the world of Greek mythology. But for now, let's take a moment to appreciate the sheer scale of this cosmic battle, a clash that reshaped the heavens and the earth and left an indelible mark on the stories that followed. Now, as we step away from the cosmic battles of the Titanomachy, we find ourselves in a quieter, yet equally profound moment in Greek mythology, a story not of war, but of defiance and enlightenment. This is the tale of Prometheus, the Titan who dared to challenge the gods themselves, not with weapons, but with an act of compassion and rebellion that would change humanity forever. Prometheus, whose name means forethought, was no ordinary Titan. Unlike his kin, he had a deep affection for humanity, the fledgling race created by the gods. While the Olympians ruled from their lofty heights, humans struggled in the cold and dark without the tools or knowledge to thrive. Prometheus saw their suffering and decided to intervene. In a bold act of defiance, he climbed Mount Olympus, the home of the gods, and stole fire from the sacred hearth. Fire, in Greek mythology, wasn't just a source of warmth or light, it symbolized knowledge, creativity, and progress. By giving fire to humanity, Prometheus didn't just provide them with a tool, he gave them the spark of civilization itself. With fire, humans could cook food, forge tools, and eventually build cities. It was a gift that elevated them from mere survival to the beginnings of culture and innovation. But this act of generosity came at a cost. Zeus, the king of the gods, was furious. To him, Prometheus's theft wasn't just an act of rebellion. It was a direct challenge to divine authority. Zeus believed that fire, like the other gifts of the gods, was meant to be earned, not taken. And so, he devised a punishment that was as cruel as it was symbolic. Prometheus was bound to a rock in the Caucasus Mountains, where an eagle would feast on his liver every day. Because he was immortal, his liver would regenerate each night, ensuring that his torment was eternal. Yet, even in his suffering, Prometheus became a symbol of resilience and defiance. His story is one of enlightenment, of the transformative power of knowledge and the courage it takes to challenge the status quo. But it's also a cautionary tale about the consequences of defying authority. Prometheus's punishment reminds us that progress often comes at a price, and those who dare to push boundaries may face severe repercussions. What makes this myth so enduring is its relevance to the human experience. Prometheus's gift of fire can be seen as a metaphor for the pursuit of knowledge and the risks that come with it. Think about the scientists, artists, and thinkers throughout history who have challenged established norms, often at great personal cost. Like Prometheus, they've illuminated the world, but not without facing resistance or punishment. And let's not forget the duality of fire itself. It's both a creator and a destroyer. It warms our homes and fuels our progress, but it can also burn and devastate. This duality mirrors the themes of the myth. Enlightenment brings power, but power can be dangerous if misused. As we reflect on Prometheus's story, we're reminded of the delicate balance between progress and responsibility. His act of rebellion wasn't just about giving humanity a tool, it was about empowering them to shape their own destiny. And while his punishment was severe, his legacy endures as a testament to the enduring human spirit. With this in mind, let's turn our attention to another myth that explores the consequences of curiosity and the complexities of human nature, the story of Pandora and her infamous box. Now, as we leave behind the fiery defiance of Prometheus, we step into a tale that delves into the very essence of human curiosity and its consequences, the story of Pandora and her infamous box. This myth, like the one before it, is layered with meaning, offering insights into the complexities of human nature and the delicate balance between hope and despair. Pandora, whose name means all-gifted, was the first woman created by the gods. Crafted by Hephaestus and endowed with gifts from each deity, she was a masterpiece of divine artistry. But her creation wasn't purely benevolent. Zeus, still seething from Prometheus's rebellion, saw Pandora as a way to exact revenge on humanity. Along with her beauty and charm, she was given a mysterious jar, often referred to as a box, and strict instructions never to open it. Curiosity, however, is a powerful force. Despite the warnings, Pandora couldn't resist the temptation. She opened the jar, unleashing a torrent of evils into the world: sickness, sorrow, greed, and countless other afflictions. Horrified, she quickly closed the jar, but it was too late. The damage was done. Only one thing remained inside: hope. This myth is often interpreted as a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked curiosity. But it's also a story about resilience. While Pandora's actions brought suffering into the world, the presence of hope suggests that even in the darkest times, there's a glimmer of light. Hope, in this context, isn't just a passive emotion, it's a force that empowers humanity to endure and overcome adversity. The duality of Pandora's story is striking. On one hand, her curiosity led to catastrophe, echoing the idea that some knowledge comes with a price. On the other hand, the enduring presence of hope reminds us that even in the face of overwhelming challenges, humanity has the capacity to persevere. This duality reflects the broader themes of Greek mythology, where every action has consequences and every gift comes with a cost. What makes Pandora's story so compelling is its timeless relevance. Think about the modern world. How often do we grapple with the consequences of our curiosity? From scientific discoveries to technological advancements, the pursuit of knowledge often brings both progress and unforeseen challenges. Pandora's myth invites us to reflect on the balance between exploration and responsibility, and the ways in which hope can guide us through the chaos we create. As we move forward, let's explore another myth that continues to captivate and inspire: the 12 labors of Heracles, a story of perseverance, redemption, and the enduring strength of the human spirit. Now, as we turn the page from Pandora's tale of curiosity and hope, we find ourselves stepping into a story of immense strength and resilience: the 12 labors of Heracles. This myth isn't just about physical feats. It's a profound exploration of perseverance, redemption, and the transformative journey of a hero. Heracles, known for his extraordinary strength, was not always the celebrated figure we think of today. His story begins with a tragic twist of fate. Driven to madness by the goddess Hera, he committed a terrible act, resulting in the loss of his family. Overwhelmed by guilt and seeking atonement, Heracles consulted the oracle of Delphi, who instructed him to serve King Eurystheus for 12 years. During this time, he was tasked with completing 12 seemingly impossible labors. These labors were not just tests of physical prowess, they were symbolic challenges that mirrored the struggles of the human condition. From slaying the Nemean lion to capturing the golden hind of Artemis, each task pushed Heracles to his limits, forcing him to confront his own weaknesses and fears. The Hydra, a monstrous serpent with regenerating heads, represented the idea that some problems grow more complex the more we try to solve them. The Augean stables, filled with years of filth, symbolized the daunting task of cleansing not just physical spaces but also the burdens of the past. What makes Heracles' journey so compelling is its universal resonance. His labors reflect the trials we all face in life, moments when we feel overwhelmed, when the path ahead seems insurmountable. Yet, through sheer determination and ingenuity, Heracles overcame each challenge, proving that even the greatest obstacles can be conquered with perseverance. But Heracles' story is also one of redemption. His labors were not just acts of service, they were a path to forgiveness and self-discovery. By enduring these trials, he transformed from a man burdened by guilt into a symbol of strength and resilience. This transformation is at the heart of the hero's journey, a theme that resonates across cultures and time. The 12 labors of Heracles remind us that greatness is not born from ease but from struggle. Each labor, with its unique challenges and lessons, offers a glimpse into the complexities of human existence. They teach us that redemption is possible, that perseverance can lead to triumph, and that even the most daunting tasks can be overcome with courage and determination. As we prepare to explore the next myth, let's carry forward the lessons of Heracles' lessons of resilience, transformation, and the enduring power of the human spirit. Now, as we leave behind the trials of Heracles and his journey of redemption, we step into a tale that intertwines love, loss, and the very rhythm of nature itself, the story of Persephone and the seasons. This myth, rich with symbolism, offers an ancient Greek explanation for the cyclical patterns of the earth, blending the divine with the natural in a way that continues to captivate us today. Persephone, the daughter of Demeter, goddess of the harvest, was a radiant figure embodying the vitality of spring and the abundance of the earth. One day, while gathering flowers in a meadow, she caught the eye of Hades, god of the underworld. In a moment that would change the course of the natural world, Hades abducted Persephone, taking her to his shadowy realm to be his queen. Demeter, devastated by the loss of her daughter, plunged the world into an eternal winter. Crops withered, the earth grew barren, and humanity faced the threat of famine. Her grief was so profound that it disrupted the balance of life itself. This part of the myth reflects the ancient Greeks' understanding of the interconnectedness of human emotion and the natural world, how the divine could shape the very fabric of existence. Zeus, seeing the suffering of both mortals and gods, intervened. He decreed that Persephone could return to the surface, but only if she had not eaten anything in the underworld. However, Hades had tricked Persephone into consuming a few pomegranate seeds, binding her to the underworld for part of each year. This compromise led to the creation of the seasons. When Persephone is with her mother, the earth blooms with life, giving us spring and summer. But when she returns to Hades, Demeter's sorrow brings autumn and winter. The myth of Persephone and the seasons is more than just an explanation for the changing weather. It's a profound meditation on themes of separation, renewal, and the cycles of life. It speaks to the inevitability of change and the balance between light and darkness, growth and decay. For the ancient Greeks, this story was a way to make sense of the natural world, but it also carries timeless truths about the human experience. Persephone's journey mirrors our own cycles of loss and renewal. Just as the earth goes through seasons of barrenness and abundance, so too do our lives have moments of hardship and joy. The myth reminds us that even in the darkest times, there is the promise of renewal, a reminder that resonates deeply in our own lives. As we prepare to explore the next myth, let's carry with us the lessons of Persephone and Demeter. Lessons about the enduring power of love, the inevitability of change, and the hope that comes with each new season. Now, as we move from the cycles of nature and the story of Persephone, we find ourselves drawn into a tale that resonates deeply with the human heart, the tragic love story of Orpheus and Eurydice. This myth, steeped in themes of love, loss, and the transcendent power of art, offers a poignant exploration of what it means to love deeply and to face the consequences of that love. Orpheus, a gifted musician and poet, was said to possess a voice and lyre so enchanting that even the gods themselves were moved by his melodies. His music could calm storms, charm wild beasts, and even make trees and rocks dance. But it was his love for Eurydice, a beautiful nymph, that defined his story. Their love was pure and profound, a bond that seemed unbreakable. Tragedy struck when Eurydice was bitten by a venomous snake and died. Overcome with grief, Orpheus could not accept her loss. Determined to bring her back, he ventured into the underworld, a place few mortals dared to enter. Armed only with his lyre and his voice, he descended into the realm of Hades, where his music softened the hearts of even the most fearsome guardians. The shades of the dead wept, and the Furies, known for their mercilessness, were moved to tears. Hades and Persephone, rulers of the underworld, were so moved by Orpheus's sorrow and the beauty of his music that they agreed to let Eurydice return to the world of the living, but on one condition. Orpheus must not look back at her until they had both reached the surface. Filled with hope, Orpheus began the journey back, with Eurydice following silently behind. But as they neared the light of the surface, doubt crept into Orpheus's heart. Was Eurydice truly there? Could he trust the gods to keep their word? Unable to resist, he turned to look at her, only to see her vanish forever, pulled back into the shadows of the underworld. His moment of weakness had cost him the love he had fought so hard to reclaim. The myth of Orpheus and Eurydice is a powerful meditation on the fragility of trust, the weight of doubt, and the devastating consequences of human imperfection. It also highlights the extraordinary power of art and music to move even the most unyielding forces, reminding us of the ways in which creativity can bridge the gap between the mortal and the divine. Orpheus's story is not just one of loss, but also of the enduring nature of love. Even in his grief, his music continued to inspire and heal, a testament to the idea that love, though it may be lost, leaves an indelible mark on the world. As we prepare to explore the next myth, let's carry with us the lessons of Orpheus, lessons about the strength of love, the pain of loss, and the timeless power of art to express the inexpressible. Now, as we step away from the haunting echoes of Orpheus's lyre, we find ourselves drawn into a tale that reflects a different kind of longing, one rooted in vanity and unrequited love. The myth of Narcissus and Echo is a story that delves into the dangers of self-absorption and the pain of loving someone who cannot love you back. It's a timeless narrative that speaks to the human condition, offering lessons about the consequences of vanity and the fragility of connection. Narcissus was a young man of extraordinary beauty, admired by all who saw him. But his beauty came with a curse. He was utterly consumed by his own reflection. He rejected the affections of others, including Echo, a nymph cursed by the goddess Hera to only repeat the words of others. Echo, who had fallen deeply in love with Narcissus, could only watch as he wandered the forests, indifferent to her longing. Her love went unreturned, and she faded away, leaving only her voice behind to repeat the sounds of the world. Narcissus's fate was no less tragic. One day, as he knelt by a pool of water, he caught sight of his reflection and became entranced. He fell in love with the image, not realizing it was himself. Unable to tear himself away, he wasted away by the water's edge, consumed by his own vanity. In some versions of the myth, he is transformed into the flower that bears his name, a symbol of fleeting beauty and self-obsession. This myth serves as a powerful commentary on the dangers of vanity and self-absorption. Narcissus's inability to see beyond himself ultimately leads to his downfall, a reminder that excessive self-love can blind us to the world around us. Echo's story, on the other hand, highlights the pain of unrequited love and the longing for connection that goes unanswered. Together, their tales weave a cautionary narrative about the importance of balance between self-love and love for others, between admiration and obsession. The myth of Narcissus and Echo also invites us to reflect on the nature of identity and perception. Narcissus's obsession with his reflection raises questions about how we see ourselves and how others see us. Are we, like Narcissus, so focused on our own image that we fail to connect with those around us? And like Echo, do we sometimes find ourselves longing for a connection that remains just out of reach? As we prepare to move forward, let's carry with us the lessons of this myth, lessons about the dangers of vanity, the pain of unrequited love, and the importance of seeing beyond ourselves. These themes will continue to resonate as we explore the next myth, where we'll encounter another tale of courage and destiny. Now, as we leave behind the tragic echoes of Narcissus and Echo, we turn our attention to a tale of heroism and divine favor, the adventures of Perseus. This myth is a thrilling journey of courage, destiny, and the guiding hand of the gods, offering a stark contrast to the self-destructive vanity we've just explored. Perseus's story is one of determination and triumph, a reminder that even the most daunting challenges can be overcome with bravery and a little help from above. Perseus, the son of Zeus and the mortal princess Danae, was destined for greatness from the moment of his birth, but his path was far from easy. When King Polydex, ruler of the island of Seriphos, sought to marry Perseus's mother, he devised a plan to rid himself of the young hero. He tasked Perseus with an impossible mission: to bring back the head of Medusa, the Gorgon whose gaze could turn any living creature to stone. For most, this would have been a death sentence, but Perseus was not most men. With the guidance of the gods, Perseus set out on his perilous quest. Athena, the goddess of wisdom, gifted him a polished shield to use as a mirror, allowing him to avoid Medusa's deadly gaze. Hermes, the messenger god, provided him with winged sandals to soar through the skies and a sickle to strike the fatal blow. Even the nymphs of the north offered him a magical bag to carry Medusa's head and a cap of invisibility to evade her sisters. Armed with these divine tools, Perseus ventured into the lair of the Gorgons. The encounter with Medusa was a test of both courage and cunning. Using Athena's shield to reflect Medusa's image, Perseus approached her without looking directly at her. With a swift strike of Hermes' sickle, he severed her head, completing his mission. But his journey was far from over. Medusa's sisters, the other Gorgons, pursued him, forcing Perseus to rely on his wits and the cap of invisibility to escape. Through sheer determination and the aid of the gods, he emerged victorious, carrying the head of Medusa as proof of his triumph. Perseus's story is rich with themes of courage, destiny, and divine intervention. His quest was not just a test of physical strength, but also of moral resolve. He faced unimaginable dangers, yet he never wavered in his determination to protect his mother and fulfill his destiny. The gods' involvement highlights the ancient Greek belief in the interplay between human effort and divine will, a reminder that even the greatest heroes rely on forces beyond their control. But Perseus's tale also raises questions about the nature of heroism. Was his success solely due to his bravery, or did the gods' favor tip the scales in his favor? And what does his story teach us about the balance between fate and free will? These are questions that continue to resonate, inviting us to reflect on our own lives and the challenges we face. As we prepare to move forward, let's carry with us the lessons of Perseus's journey, lessons about the power of courage, the importance of destiny, and the role of divine guidance in shaping our lives. These themes will continue to echo as we explore the next myth, where we'll encounter another epic tale of honor, glory, and the complexities of human ambition. Now, as we shift our focus from the heroic feats of Perseus, we step into one of the most legendary conflicts in Greek mythology, the Trojan War. This epic tale, immortalized in Homer's Iliad, is not just a story of battles and bloodshed, but a profound exploration of honor, glory, and the intricate interplay between mortals and gods. The Trojan War is a cornerstone of Greek mythology, offering a window into the values and beliefs of ancient Greek society. The war began with a single act of divine mischief. Eris, the goddess of discord, threw a golden apple inscribed with the words "to the fairest" into a gathering of gods, sparking a rivalry among Hera, Athena, and Aphrodite. The task of choosing the fairest fell to Paris, a prince of Troy. Each goddess offered him a bribe, but it was Aphrodite's promise of the most beautiful woman in the world, Helen, wife of King Menelaus of Sparta, that won his favor. When Paris abducted Helen, he set in motion a chain of events that would lead to a decade-long war. The Greeks, bound by an oath to defend Helen's marriage, rallied under the leadership of Agamemnon, Menelaus's brother. Among the warriors were legendary heroes like Achilles, the nearly invincible warrior, Odysseus, the cunning strategist, and Ajax, known for his immense strength. On the Trojan side, Hector, the noble prince of Troy, stood as a symbol of courage and duty, defending his city against overwhelming odds. The war was not just a clash of armies, but a stage for the gods, who took sides and intervened in the conflict, shaping its outcome. Zeus, the king of the gods, sought to maintain balance, while others like Athena and Hera favored the Greeks, and Aphrodite and Apollo supported the Trojans. The gods' involvement underscores the ancient Greek belief that human destiny is intertwined with divine will. Heroes like Achilles and Hector were not just fighting for glory, but were also pawns in a larger cosmic game, their fates often sealed by the whims of the gods. The Trojan War is rich with themes of honor and glory, central to ancient Greek values. Achilles, for instance, faced a choice between a long, uneventful life and a short, glorious one. His decision to fight and die in battle reflects the Greek ideal of kleos, or eternal fame, achieved through heroic deeds. Similarly, Hector's unwavering commitment to his city and family exemplifies the virtues of duty and sacrifice. These ideals resonate throughout the myth, offering timeless lessons about the cost of honor and the pursuit of greatness. Yet, the war also reveals the darker side of these values. The conflict was born out of pride, jealousy, and vengeance, leading to immense suffering on both sides. The fall of Troy, marked by the infamous Trojan horse, serves as a reminder of the consequences of hubris and deceit. The war's aftermath, filled with tragedy and loss, forces us to question whether the pursuit of glory is worth the price paid in human lives. As we reflect on the Trojan War, we see a story that transcends its mythological roots, offering insights into the complexities of human ambition and the fragile balance between fate and free will. It's a tale that continues to captivate, reminding us of the enduring power of myth to illuminate the human experience. And as we move forward, we'll explore another epic journey, one that takes us across the seas and into the heart of adventure, where resilience and cunning are put to the ultimate test. Now, as we leave the battlefield of Troy behind, we set sail with one of the most enduring figures in Greek mythology, Odysseus, the hero of Homer's Odyssey. This epic tale is not just a story of adventure, but a profound exploration of resilience, cunning, and the complexities of the human spirit. Odysseus's journey home to Ithaca after the Trojan War is a testament to the strength of the human will and the lengths one must go to overcome seemingly insurmountable challenges. The Odyssey begins where the Iliad ends, with the fall of Troy. But while the war may be over, Odysseus's trials are just beginning. His voyage home, which should have taken weeks, stretches into 10 long years, filled with perilous encounters and divine interventions. Along the way, Odysseus faces mythical creatures, treacherous seas, and the wrath of gods, all while striving to reunite with his wife, Penelope, and his son, Telemachus. Each obstacle tests not only his physical strength but also his wit and determination. One of the most iconic moments in the Odyssey is Odysseus's encounter with the Cyclops Polyphemus. Trapped in the giant's cave, Odysseus devises a cunning plan to blind Polyphemus and escape by hiding under the bellies of the Cyclops' sheep. This episode highlights Odysseus's resourcefulness and his ability to think on his feet, qualities that define him as a hero. Yet, it also reveals his flaws, his pride and arrogance, as he cannot resist taunting Polyphemus, which brings the wrath of Poseidon upon him. Odysseus's journey is also marked by his encounters with the sirens, whose enchanting songs lure sailors to their doom. By ordering his crew to plug their ears with wax and tying himself to the mast, Odysseus demonstrates both self-control and an understanding of human weakness. This moment underscores the theme of temptation and the importance of resisting it, a lesson that resonates deeply with the human condition. The Odyssey is not just a tale of external challenges, but also an exploration of internal struggles. Odysseus's longing for home and his unwavering loyalty to Penelope reflect the enduring power of love and the human desire for belonging. Meanwhile, Penelope's own story of resilience as she fends off suitors and maintains hope for her husband's return adds another layer of depth to the narrative. Together, their stories remind us that heroism is not just about physical feats, but also about emotional endurance and moral strength. As we follow Odysseus's journey, we see a hero who is deeply human, flawed, vulnerable, yet endlessly resourceful. His story teaches us about the importance of perseverance in the face of adversity, the value of cleverness over brute force, and the enduring power of hope. The Odyssey is more than a myth. It's a timeless reflection on what it means to be human, offering lessons that continue to resonate across the ages. And as we prepare to leave the world of Odysseus behind, we turn our attention to another legendary hero whose story is equally rich with themes of courage, destiny, and the interplay between mortals and gods. Now, as we shift our gaze from the cunning Odysseus to the battlefield of Troy, we enter the world of the Iliad, a story that delves deep into the heart of heroism, wrath, and the inevitability of mortality. At the center of this epic stands Achilles, a warrior whose name has become synonymous with unmatched strength and tragic vulnerability. The Iliad is not just a tale of war, it's a profound exploration of what it means to be a hero, the cost of pride, and the fragile nature of human life. Achilles, the greatest warrior of the Greek army, is a figure of contradictions. His divine lineage grants him near invincibility, yet his humanity makes him deeply flawed. The Iliad begins with Achilles' wrath, sparked by a dispute with Agamemnon, the leader of the Greek forces. When Agamemnon takes Achilles' prized war prize, the captive Briseis, Achilles withdraws from battle, leaving the Greeks vulnerable. This act of defiance reveals Achilles' pride and his struggle with honor, a theme that runs throughout the epic. As the war rages on, the absence of Achilles proves disastrous for the Greeks. Without their greatest warrior, they suffer heavy losses and the Trojans gain the upper hand. This period of Achilles' withdrawal highlights the tension between personal honor and collective duty. Achilles' refusal to fight is not just an act of anger, it's a statement about the value of individual dignity in a world driven by power and ambition. The turning point comes with the death of Patroclus, Achilles' closest companion. Overcome by grief and guilt, Achilles returns to the battlefield, not for glory or honor, but for vengeance. His wrath, now directed at Hector, the Trojan prince who killed Patroclus, becomes all-consuming. In a brutal and emotional confrontation, Achilles slays Hector, but this victory brings him no peace. Instead, it underscores the tragic nature of his character. His immense power is matched only by his inability to escape the cycle of rage and loss. Achilles' story is also a meditation on mortality. Despite his divine heritage, he is bound by the same fate as all mortals. The Iliad reminds us that even the greatest heroes are not immune to death. Achilles' mother, Thetis, foretells his fate. If he stays and fights at Troy, he will achieve eternal glory but die young. If he leaves, he will live a long life but be forgotten. Achilles chooses glory, embracing his destiny with a mix of courage and resignation. This choice reflects the ancient Greek belief in the inevitability of fate and the fleeting nature of human life. The Iliad is more than a war epic, it's a timeless exploration of the human condition. Through Achilles, we see the complexities of heroism, the interplay of strength and vulnerability, pride and humility, life and death. His story challenges us to consider what it means to live with purpose and to face our own mortality with dignity. As we leave the battlefield of Troy and the tragic figure of Achilles behind, we turn to another myth that explores the limits of human ambition and the dangers of hubris. Now, as we step away from the battlefield of Troy and the tragic fate of Achilles, we find ourselves soaring into the skies with one of the most iconic cautionary tales in Greek mythology, the story of Icarus and Daedalus. This myth, rich with symbolism, serves as a timeless reminder of the dangers of overreaching ambition and the consequences of ignoring wise counsel. Daedalus, a master craftsman and inventor, finds himself trapped on the island of Crete with his son, Icarus. To escape the clutches of King Minos, Daedalus devises a daring plan. He constructs wings made of feathers and wax, allowing them to fly to freedom. Before they take flight, Daedalus warns Icarus of the dangers: fly too low, and the sea's dampness will weigh down the wings; fly too high, and the sun's heat will melt the wax. It's a delicate balance, one that requires both caution and restraint. But Icarus, young and filled with the thrill of flight, becomes intoxicated by the freedom of the skies. Ignoring his father's warnings, he soars higher and higher, drawn by the allure of the sun. The closer he gets, the more the wax begins to melt, until finally his wings disintegrate and he plummets into the sea below. His fall is not just a physical one, it's a metaphor for the perils of unchecked ambition and the hubris that often accompanies it. The myth of Icarus is a powerful exploration of human limits. It reminds us that while ambition can drive us to achieve great things, it must be tempered with wisdom and humility. Daedalus, the cautious inventor, represents the voice of reason, while Icarus embodies the reckless pursuit of glory. Together, they illustrate the tension between aspiration and restraint, a theme that resonates deeply in our own lives. This story also speaks to the relationship between generations. Daedalus, as a father, tries to impart his hard-earned wisdom to his son, but Icarus, like many young people, is eager to test boundaries and forge his own path. The tragedy lies not just in Icarus's fall, but in the fact that his youthful exuberance blinds him to the consequences of his actions. It's a poignant reminder that experience and caution are often the best guides in navigating life's challenges. The myth of Icarus and Daedalus continues to captivate us because it speaks to universal truths about human nature. It warns us of the dangers of hubris, the importance of heeding advice, and the need to recognize our own limitations. As we reflect on this tale, we're reminded that while the skies may call to us, it's the balance between ambition and humility that keeps us grounded. With this cautionary tale still echoing in our minds, we now turn to another myth that explores bravery, sacrifice, and the triumph of good over evil, the story of Theseus and the Minotaur. Now, as we leave the tragic skies of Icarus behind, we descend into the dark and twisting corridors of one of Greek mythology's most iconic tales, the story of Theseus and the Minotaur. This myth is not just a story of heroism, it's a profound exploration of bravery, sacrifice, and the eternal struggle between good and evil. The tale begins in the city of Athens, where King Aegeus rules. Every 9 years, Athens is forced to send 7 young men and 7 young women to Crete as tribute to King Minos. These unfortunate souls are destined to be sacrificed to the Minotaur, a monstrous creature with the body of a man and the head of a bull, who dwells in the heart of an intricate labyrinth. The labyrinth, designed by the very same Daedalus we just discussed, is a maze so complex that escape is nearly impossible. It's a place of terror where hope seems lost and death feels inevitable. Enter Theseus, the son of King Aegeus. Unlike the others, Theseus is not content to accept this grim fate. Determined to end the cycle of sacrifice, he volunteers to be one of the 14 tributes. His goal: to slay the Minotaur and free Athens from its cruel obligation. It's a bold and selfless act, one that sets the stage for an epic confrontation. When Theseus arrives in Crete, he catches the attention of Princess Ariadne, the daughter of King Minos. Ariadne, moved by Theseus's courage and resolve, offers him a way to navigate the labyrinth. She gives him a ball of thread which he can unravel as he ventures deeper into the maze, ensuring he can find his way back. This simple yet ingenious tool becomes a lifeline, symbolizing the power of ingenuity and the importance of allies in the face of overwhelming odds. As Theseus enters the labyrinth, the tension builds. The darkness, the silence, the oppressive weight of the maze, it's a test not just of physical strength but of mental fortitude. When he finally confronts the Minotaur, the battle is fierce and brutal. Theseus, armed with nothing but his courage and determination, defeats the beast, ending its reign of terror. It's a moment of triumph, but also one of profound sacrifice. Theseus's victory comes at great personal risk, a reminder that true heroism often demands immense bravery and selflessness. The myth of Theseus and the Minotaur is rich with symbolism. The labyrinth represents the complexities and challenges of life, while the Minotaur embodies the fears and monsters we all must face. Theseus's journey through the maze is a metaphor for navigating life's trials, and his victory over the Minotaur symbolizes the triumph of good over evil, of light over darkness. It's a story that resonates deeply, reminding us that even in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds, courage and determination can lead us to victory. But the story doesn't end there. Theseus's return to Athens is marked by another poignant moment. Before leaving Crete, he had promised his father, King Aegeus, that if he succeeded, he would change the black sails of his ship to white as a signal of his safe return. Tragically, in the excitement of his victory, Theseus forgets to change the sails. When King Aegeus sees the black sails approaching, he believes his son is dead and throws himself into the sea, which is later named the Aegean in his honor. This bittersweet ending adds a layer of complexity to the tale, reminding us that even in triumph there can be loss. The story of Theseus and the Minotaur is more than just a myth. It's a timeless exploration of the human spirit. It teaches us about the power of courage, the importance of sacrifice, and the enduring struggle between good and evil. As we reflect on this tale, we're reminded that life's greatest challenges often require us to confront our deepest fears, and that true heroism lies not in the absence of fear, but in the willingness to face it head-on. With the echoes of Theseus's bravery still fresh in our minds, we now turn to another myth that delves into the consequences of unchecked desire, the story of King Midas and his golden touch. Now, as we step away from the labyrinth and the echoes of Theseus's triumph, we find ourselves in the glittering yet tragic world of King Midas. This myth, often remembered for its fantastical element of the golden touch, is far more than a simple tale of magic. It's a profound exploration of greed, the weight of consequences, and the timeless value of simplicity. The story begins with King Midas, a ruler known for his love of wealth and luxury. One day, he does a favor for the god Dionysus, who, in gratitude, offers to grant Midas any wish he desires. Overcome by his insatiable desire for riches, Midas asks that everything he touches turn to gold. At first, this seems like a dream come true. He touches a twig, it becomes gold. He touches a stone, it gleams with the same precious metal. But soon, the reality of his wish sets in. When he tries to eat, his food turns to gold. When he reaches out to embrace his daughter, she too is transformed into a lifeless statue. The very thing he thought would bring him happiness becomes a curse, isolating him from the simple joys of life. This myth is a powerful commentary on the dangers of unchecked greed. Midas's desire for wealth blinds him to the true cost of his wish. The golden touch, while seemingly miraculous, strips away the things that truly matter: human connection, nourishment, and the ability to experience life's simple pleasures. It's a stark reminder that wealth, when pursued without balance, can become a prison rather than a blessing. But the story doesn't end in despair. Realizing the gravity of his mistake, Midas begs Dionysus to take back the curse. The god, moved by Midas's genuine remorse, instructs him to wash away his golden touch in the river Pactolus. As Midas plunges his hands into the water, the curse is lifted, and the river itself is said to have turned to gold, enriching the land around it. This act of redemption offers a glimmer of hope, suggesting that even the gravest mistakes can be rectified through humility and a willingness to change. The myth of King Midas resonates deeply because it speaks to a universal truth. the pursuit of material wealth often comes at the expense of what truly matters. It challenges us to reflect on our own desires and priorities. Are we, like Midas, chasing after things that may ultimately leave us empty, or are we valuing the intangible treasures, love, connection, and the simple joys of life that bring true fulfillment? As we reflect on Midas's journey, we're reminded that wealth, in its many forms, is not inherently evil. It's the imbalance, the obsession, that leads to downfall. The story encourages us to seek a life of balance, where material success is tempered by an appreciation for the things that money cannot buy. It's a lesson that feels as relevant today as it did in ancient times, urging us to look beyond the glitter of gold and find richness in the simplicity of life. With the lessons of King Midas still echoing in our minds, we now turn to another myth that explores the complexities of ambition and downfall, the tale of Jason and the Argonauts. Now, as we leave behind the cautionary tale of King Midas, we set sail into the adventurous waters of Jason and the Argonauts. This myth, brimming with heroism, treachery, and the relentless pursuit of glory, offers a vivid exploration of what it means to chase greatness and the sacrifices that come with it. The story begins with Jason, a young hero destined to reclaim his rightful throne from his uncle, Peleus. To prove his worth, Peleus challenges Jason to retrieve the Golden Fleece, a symbol of power and kingship, guarded in the distant land of Colchis. Determined to rise to the challenge, Jason gathers a crew of the greatest heroes of his time, including the mighty Hercules, the swift-footed Atalanta, and the skilled musician Orpheus. Together, they set out on the ship Argo, embarking on a perilous journey that would test their courage, loyalty, and resolve. The voyage of the Argonauts is a masterclass in teamwork. Each member of the crew brings unique strengths to the table, and their collective efforts are what propel them forward. From navigating treacherous seas to outsmarting mythical creatures, their success hinges on their ability to work together. This aspect of the myth highlights the importance of collaboration and trust, reminding us that even the most daunting challenges can be overcome when we unite our strengths. But the journey is not without its darker moments. Along the way, Jason and his crew face betrayal, most notably from Medea, the sorceress of Colchis. Medea, who falls in love with Jason, helps him secure the Golden Fleece through her cunning and magic. Yet, her assistance comes at a cost. Her loyalty to her family and homeland is shattered, setting the stage for future tragedies. This element of the story underscores the complexities of ambition and the moral compromises that often accompany the pursuit of glory. It asks us to consider, at what point does the price of success become too high? The myth of Jason and the Argonauts also delves into the theme of the hero's journey, a recurring motif in Greek mythology. Jason's quest is not just about retrieving the Golden Fleece, it's about proving his worth, facing his fears, and emerging transformed. His trials, whether battling harpies, outwitting the bronze giant Tolos, or navigating the clashing rocks of the Symplegades, serve as metaphors for the obstacles we all face in our own lives. They remind us that the path to greatness is rarely straightforward, and that perseverance is key. Yet, the story doesn't end with triumph alone. Jason's eventual success in securing the Golden Fleece is bittersweet, as it sets off a chain of events that lead to further suffering and betrayal. This nuanced ending challenges the notion of glory as an ultimate goal, suggesting that the pursuit of greatness often comes with unintended consequences. It invites us to reflect on our own ambitions and the lengths we're willing to go to achieve them. As we navigate the twists and turns of Jason's journey, we're reminded that the pursuit of glory is as much about the journey as it is about the destination. The myth of Jason and the Argonauts serves as a timeless exploration of teamwork, betrayal, and the complexities of ambition, a tale that continues to resonate with anyone who has ever dared to dream big. With the echoes of Jason's quest still lingering, we now turn to another myth that challenges traditional norms and celebrates the strength of individuality, the story of Atalanta. Now, as we shift our focus from the collective heroism of Jason and the Argonauts, we step into the world of Atalanta, a figure who defied the expectations of her time and carved her own path with unmatched determination. Atalanta's story is one of fierce independence, challenging the norms of ancient Greek society and offering a powerful exploration of gender roles, destiny, and the strength of individuality. Atalanta's tale begins with her abandonment as an infant, left to die on a mountainside because her father desired a son. But fate had other plans. She was rescued and raised by a she-bear, later taken in by hunters who recognized her extraordinary potential. From a young age, Atalanta displayed incredible skill and courage, excelling in hunting and running, traits typically associated with male heroes. Her prowess earned her a place among the Argonauts, where she stood shoulder to shoulder with the greatest heroes of her time, proving that strength and bravery know no gender. One of the most famous episodes in Atalanta's story is her participation in the Caledonian boar hunt. When a monstrous boar terrorized the land, Atalanta joined the hunt, not as a token participant but as a key figure. Her skill with a bow and her quick thinking led to the boar's defeat, earning her the respect of her peers. Though not without controversy, some of the male hunters resented her success, highlighting the societal tensions surrounding women who dared to step outside traditional roles. This moment in the myth underscores the challenges faced by those who defy expectations, as well as the resilience required to overcome prejudice. Atalanta's independence is further highlighted in her refusal to marry, a decision that set her apart in a society where marriage was often seen as a woman's primary destiny. To avoid being forced into a union, she declared that she would only marry a man who could outrun her in a foot race, a challenge she was confident no one could meet. Many suitors tried and failed until Hippomenes, with the help of the goddess Aphrodite, used golden apples to distract Atalanta and win the race. While this twist might seem like a setback, it also reveals the complexity of Atalanta's character. Even in defeat, she remains a symbol of agency and self-determination, choosing to honor her agreement rather than defy it. The myth of Atalanta also delves into the theme of destiny. Despite her efforts to control her own fate, Atalanta's life is shaped by forces beyond her control, from her abandonment as a child to her eventual marriage. Yet, even within these constraints, she asserts her independence and leaves an indelible mark on the world. Her story challenges us to consider how much of our lives are shaped by external forces and how much we can shape ourselves. Atalanta's legacy is one of defiance and empowerment. She stands as a reminder that strength and courage are not confined by gender, and that true independence lies in the ability to define oneself on one's own terms. Her story resonates with anyone who has ever felt constrained by societal expectations, offering a timeless message of resilience and self-determination. As we leave Atalanta's world behind, we turn to another myth that explores the consequences of pride and the power of artistry, the story of Arachne. Now, as we move from the tale of Atalanta's defiance and independence, we find ourselves drawn into the story of Arachne, a myth that weaves together themes of pride, artistry, and the consequences of challenging the divine. Arachne's story is one of extraordinary talent and the dangers of overconfidence, offering a cautionary tale about the fine line between self-assurance and hubris. Arachne was a mortal woman renowned for her unparalleled skill in weaving. Her tapestries were so exquisite that people traveled from far and wide to witness her artistry. She could create scenes so vivid and lifelike that they seemed to leap off the loom. But with her talent came a growing sense of pride. Arachne began to boast that her skills surpassed even those of Athena, the goddess of wisdom and crafts. This bold claim caught the attention of the goddess herself, who decided to visit Arachne in disguise to test her humility. When Athena arrived, she warned Arachne to show respect to the gods and to acknowledge their superiority. But Arachne, blinded by her arrogance, refused to back down. She challenged Athena to a weaving contest, confident that she would emerge victorious. The goddess accepted, and the two began to create their masterpieces. Athena wove a tapestry depicting the gods in all their glory, emphasizing their power and the consequences of mortal defiance. Arachne, on the other hand, chose to portray the gods in a less flattering light, highlighting their flaws and misdeeds. When the contest concluded, it was clear that both tapestries were works of unparalleled beauty. However, Athena could not tolerate Arachne's insolence and the disrespectful nature of her work. In a fit of rage, the goddess destroyed Arachne's tapestry and struck her with a loom shuttle. Overwhelmed by shame and despair, Arachne attempted to take her own life, but Athena intervened, transforming her into a spider. From that day forward, Arachne and her descendants would weave intricate webs, a reminder of her extraordinary talent and the price of her pride. The myth of Arachne serves as a powerful exploration of the dangers of hubris and the consequences of challenging divine authority. It also raises questions about the nature of artistry and the fine line between confidence and arrogance. Arachne's story reminds us that while talent and ambition are admirable, they must be tempered with humility and respect for forces greater than ourselves. As we reflect on Arachne's fate, we are reminded of the delicate balance between human ambition and divine will. Her story invites us to consider the ways in which pride can both elevate and destroy, and how the pursuit of excellence must always be accompanied by a sense of perspective. With this in mind, we now turn to the myth of Sisyphus, a tale that delves into the themes of perseverance, futility, and the human struggle against insurmountable odds. Shifting our focus from the tragic tale of Arachne, we now delve into the myth of Sisyphus, a story that has captivated thinkers and storytellers for centuries. Sisyphus, the cunning king of Corinth, was known for his cleverness and deceit, but his actions would ultimately lead to one of the most famous punishments in Greek mythology, a fate that has become a symbol of endless struggle and the human condition. Sisyphus's troubles began when he tried to outwit the gods. He was notorious for his trickery, even managing to cheat death not once but twice. The first time he captured Thanatos, the god of death, and chained him up, preventing anyone from dying. This act of defiance angered the gods, who sent Ares, the god of war, to free Thanatos and return Sisyphus to the underworld. But Sisyphus wasn't done yet. Before his death, he instructed his wife not to perform the customary funeral rites for him. When he arrived in the underworld, he complained to Hades that his wife had disrespected him, and he was granted permission to return to the living world to punish her. Once back, however, Sisyphus refused to return to the underworld, living out his days until he was finally dragged back by force. For his audacity and repeated attempts to cheat death, the gods devised a punishment that would last for eternity. Sisyphus was condemned to roll a massive boulder up a steep hill, only to watch it roll back down each time he neared the top. This endless cycle of effort and failure became his eternal torment, a vivid representation of futility and the relentless nature of human struggle. But the myth of Sisyphus is more than just a tale of punishment. It has profound philosophical implications, particularly in the way it explores themes of perseverance and the meaning of life. The French philosopher Albert Camus famously interpreted Sisyphus's story as a metaphor for the human condition. In his essay, The Myth of Sisyphus, Camus argued that despite the apparent futility of Sisyphus's task, he could still find meaning in his struggle. By embracing his fate and continuing to push the boulder, Sisyphus demonstrates resilience and defiance in the face of an absurd and indifferent universe. This interpretation invites us to reflect on our own lives and the challenges we face. Like Sisyphus, we often encounter tasks that seem endless or insurmountable. Yet, it is in the act of persevering, of finding purpose in the struggle itself, that we can discover a sense of fulfillment. The myth challenges us to confront the absurdity of existence and to create our own meaning, even in the face of seemingly futile circumstances. As we consider Sisyphus's eternal task, we are reminded of the power of human determination and the importance of finding purpose in our efforts. His story serves as both a cautionary tale and a source of inspiration, urging us to reflect on the ways we navigate our own struggles and the meaning we derive from them. With this in mind, we now turn to the tale of Bellerophon and Pegasus, a story that explores themes of ambition, divine favor, and the perils of overreaching. Now, let us soar into the skies with the tale of Bellerophon and Pegasus, a story that intertwines ambition, divine intervention, and the dangers of overreaching. Bellerophon, a mortal hero, was known for his courage and skill, but his life took a dramatic turn when he encountered the majestic winged horse Pegasus. This mythical creature, born from the blood of Medusa and the sea foam, became Bellerophon's trusted companion, granting him the ability to achieve feats no ordinary man could. Bellerophon's journey began with a seemingly impossible task, slaying the Chimera, a fearsome monster with the body of a lion, the head of a goat, and a serpent for a tail. With Pegasus by his side, Bellerophon rose above the earth, using his wits and the horse's speed to outmaneuver the beast. His victory over the Chimera earned him great renown, but it also fueled his ambition. As his fame grew, so did his pride, and he began to see himself as equal to the gods. This hubris would prove to be his undoing. Encouraged by his success, Bellerophon set his sights on Mount Olympus, the home of the gods. Mounted on Pegasus, he attempted to ascend to the heavens, believing he deserved a place among the divine. But the gods, angered by his arrogance, sent a gadfly to sting Pegasus. The winged horse reared in pain, throwing Bellerophon from his back. The fall left Bellerophon crippled and humbled, a stark reminder of the consequences of overreaching and the dangers of challenging the gods. The myth of Bellerophon and Pegasus serves as a powerful exploration of ambition and its limits. While Bellerophon's initial feats were celebrated, his downfall illustrates the fine line between striving for greatness and succumbing to pride. The story also highlights the role of divine favor and the precarious nature of relying on it. Pegasus, a gift from the gods, was both a blessing and a test, and Bellerophon's inability to remain humble ultimately led to his ruin. This tale invites us to reflect on our own ambitions and the ways we navigate success and failure. It reminds us that while striving for greatness is admirable, it must be tempered with humility and respect for the forces beyond our control. Bellerophon's story is a timeless lesson in the balance between aspiration and restraint, a theme that resonates deeply in both ancient and modern contexts. As we leave the skies of Bellerophon's adventures, we prepare to explore the legends of the Amazons, warrior women who defied traditional norms and carved their own path in Greek mythology. Now, let us step into the world of the Amazons, a legendary tribe of warrior women who shattered the expectations of their time. These fierce fighters were not just a myth but a symbol of strength, independence, and defiance against the rigid gender roles of ancient Greece. The Amazons were said to live in a society entirely their own, free from the dominance of men, and their stories have fascinated historians and storytellers for centuries. The Amazons were often depicted as skilled archers and horseback riders, their prowess in battle unmatched. They were believed to inhabit the edges of the known world, in regions like the Black Sea, where they built their own cities and lived by their own laws. One of their most famous queens, Hippolyta, was said to possess a magical girdle, a gift from the god Ares, which became the focus of one of Heracles' 12 labors. This encounter between Heracles and the Amazons highlights the tension between their world and the patriarchal society of Greece, as well as the Amazons' determination to protect their way of life. But the Amazons were more than just warriors. They were also symbols of female empowerment and autonomy. In a world where women were often confined to domestic roles, the Amazons represented a radical alternative. They were mothers, leaders, and fighters, embodying a balance of strength and nurturing that challenged the norms of their time. Their existence in myth served as both a warning and an inspiration, depending on who was telling the story. The Amazons also played a significant role in some of the most famous Greek myths. They fought alongside the Trojans in the Trojan War, led by their queen Penthesilea, who faced Achilles in a legendary duel. Their presence in these stories underscores their importance in Greek culture, even as they were often portrayed as outsiders or adversaries. The myth of the Amazons invites us to consider the ways in which ancient societies grappled with ideas of gender and power. These warrior women were not just characters in stories, they were a reflection of the fears, aspirations, and complexities of the world that created them. Their legacy continues to inspire, reminding us of the enduring power of stories that challenge the status quo. As we leave the world of the Amazons, we turn our attention to the Muses, the divine inspirers of art, science, and literature, whose influence shaped the very heart of Greek culture. Now, let us journey into the realm of creativity and inspiration, where the Muses reigned supreme. These 9 divine sisters were the embodiment of artistic and intellectual pursuits, guiding the minds of poets, musicians, and thinkers throughout ancient Greece. Each muse had her own domain, from epic poetry to astronomy, and together they represented the full spectrum of human creativity. The Muses were said to be the daughters of Zeus and Mnemosyne, the goddess of memory, a union that symbolized the connection between inspiration and the preservation of knowledge. They were often invoked at the beginning of epic poems and plays, as their blessing was believed to bring clarity, beauty, and truth to the work. For the ancient Greeks, the Muses were not just mythical figures but a vital part of their cultural identity, reminding them of the power of art and intellect to elevate the human spirit. Each muse had a distinct role. Calliope, the eldest, was the muse of epic poetry, often depicted with a writing tablet in hand. Clio, the muse of history, carried a scroll, while Euterpe, the muse of music, held a flute. Thalia brought comedy to life, Melpomene inspired tragedy, and Terpsichore was the muse of dance. Eroto guided love poetry, Polyhymnia focused on sacred hymns, and Urania, the muse of astronomy, held a globe and compass. Together, they formed a harmonious chorus, each contributing her unique voice to the symphony of human achievement. The Muses were more than just symbols, they were a source of inspiration for some of the greatest works of ancient Greece. Homer's Iliad and Odyssey, for example, begin with invocations to the Muses, asking for their guidance in recounting the tales of heroes and gods. Similarly, playwrights like Sophocles and Euripides credited the Muses with the brilliance of their tragedies. Even philosophers like Plato acknowledged their influence, seeing the Muses as a bridge between the mortal and the divine. But the Muses were not just for the elite. They were accessible to anyone who sought to create, whether through poetry, music, or even the simple act of storytelling. Their presence in Greek culture underscores the belief that creativity was a divine gift, one that could transform ordinary lives into something extraordinary. As we reflect on the Muses, we are reminded of the timeless importance of art and knowledge. They challenge us to seek inspiration in the world around us and to honor the creative spirit within each of us. With their story in mind, we now turn to the Fates, the mysterious weavers of destiny, whose threads bind the lives of gods and mortals alike. Now, as we step into the realm of destiny, we encounter the Fates, or the Moirai, the enigmatic weavers of life's tapestry. These 3 sisters, Clotho, Lachesis, and Atropos, held the threads of every mortal and god's existence in their hands, shaping the course of lives with their unyielding power. Clotho spun the thread of life, Lachesis measured its length, and Atropos, the inevitable, cut it at the appointed time. Together, they embodied the ancient Greek understanding of fate as an inescapable force, one that even the gods could not defy. The Fates were not just abstract figures, they represented a profound philosophical question that has echoed through the ages. Do we control our own lives, or are our paths predetermined? For the ancient Greeks, the answer lay somewhere in between. While the fates dictated the overarching framework of destiny, individuals still had the freedom to make choices within that framework. This duality reflects the tension between free will and predestination, a theme that continues to resonate in modern discussions about fate and human agency. In Greek mythology, the fates were often depicted as impartial and unyielding. No amount of pleading or bargaining could sway their decisions. Even Zeus, the king of the gods, was bound by their decrees. This idea of an unchangeable destiny underscores the ancient Greek belief in a cosmic order that governed all things, from the rise and fall of empires to the fate of a single individual. Yet, the fates also served as a reminder of the fragility and preciousness of life. Their presence in myths often brought a sense of urgency and purpose, urging mortals to live fully and meaningfully within the time allotted to them. Heroes like Oedipus and Achilles grappled with their fates, their stories highlighting the tension between human ambition and the limits imposed by destiny. The fates' influence extended beyond mythology into everyday life. Ancient Greeks often invoked them during important life events, such as births, marriages, and deaths, acknowledging their role in shaping the course of human existence. This reverence for the fates reveals a deep respect for the mysteries of life and the forces that govern it. As we reflect on the myth of the fates, we are invited to consider our own relationship with destiny. Do we see our lives as a series of choices, or do we believe in a predetermined path? The story of the Moirai challenges us to find meaning in the balance between what we can control and what lies beyond our grasp. With this exploration of destiny fresh in our minds, we now turn to the tale of Eros and Psyche, a story that delves into the transformative power of love and the trials that test its strength. Now, shifting our gaze from the unyielding threads of fate, we step into a tale that celebrates the resilience of the human spirit and the enduring power of love, the story of Eros and Psyche. This myth, rich with emotion and symbolism, unfolds as a journey of trust, trials, and transformation, offering profound insights into the nature of love and the challenges it must overcome. Psyche, a mortal princess of unparalleled beauty, drew the envy of Aphrodite, the goddess of love herself. Aphrodite, fearing that Psyche's beauty would overshadow her own, commanded her son Eros, the god of desire, to make Psyche fall in love with a monstrous creature. But when Eros laid eyes on Psyche, he was struck by her grace and accidentally pricked himself with his own arrow, falling deeply in love with her. Instead of following his mother's orders, Eros whisked Psyche away to a hidden palace where he visited her only under the cover of darkness, forbidding her to see his face. Psyche, though surrounded by luxury, grew lonely and curious, her heart torn between trust and doubt. Encouraged by her jealous sisters, she eventually broke her promise and lit a lamp to gaze upon her mysterious lover. In that moment, she discovered Eros's divine beauty, but a drop of hot oil from the lamp awakened him, and he fled, leaving Psyche heartbroken and alone. What follows is a series of trials imposed by Aphrodite, who sought to punish Psyche for her transgression. Psyche was tasked with impossible challenges, from sorting a mountain of mixed grains to retrieving the golden fleece of a deadly ram, and even descending into the underworld to fetch a box of beauty from Persephone. Each trial tested Psyche's courage, resourcefulness, and unwavering love for Eros. Through her perseverance, Psyche not only completed these tasks but also grew in strength and wisdom. Her journey symbolizes the transformative power of love, which demands sacrifice, trust, and the willingness to face one's deepest fears. In the end, Eros, moved by Psyche's devotion, pleaded with Zeus to grant her immortality, uniting them as equals in a bond that transcended mortal and divine boundaries. The tale of Eros and Psyche is more than a love story. It is a reflection on the trials that test relationships and the growth that comes from overcoming them. It reminds us that love is not merely a feeling but a journey, one that requires trust, resilience, and the courage to face the unknown. As we leave the enchanting world of Eros and Psyche, we prepare to delve into the myth of the Hydra, a creature whose many heads symbolize the seemingly insurmountable challenges that heroes must confront. Now, as we turn our attention from the trials of love to the trials of strength, we find ourselves facing one of the most formidable creatures in Greek mythology, the Hydra. This multi-headed beast, with its venomous breath and regenerative powers, stands as a symbol of the challenges that seem impossible to conquer. But as we'll see, the story of Heracles and the Hydra is not just about brute force. It's about strategy, resilience, and the determination to overcome even the most daunting obstacles. The Hydra, a monstrous serpent with multiple heads, made its lair in the swamps of Lerna. What made this creature truly terrifying was its ability to grow 2 new heads for every one that was cut off. To make matters worse, one of its heads was immortal, making the Hydra an almost unstoppable foe. When Heracles, as part of his 12 labors, was tasked with slaying the Hydra, he knew this would be no ordinary battle. Armed with his club and sword, he approached the beast, but quickly realized that brute strength alone would not be enough. As Heracles struck off one head, 2 more sprouted in its place. The Hydra's regenerative power seemed to mock his efforts, and the battle grew more desperate with each passing moment. But Heracles, known for his ingenuity as much as his strength, adapted his strategy. With the help of his nephew Iolaus, he devised a plan to cauterize each neck stump with fire as soon as a head was removed, preventing new ones from growing. This clever tactic turned the tide of the battle, allowing Heracles to systematically dismantle the Hydra's defenses. Yet, even with this strategy, the immortal head remained. For this final challenge, Heracles buried the head deep beneath a massive rock, ensuring it could never rise again. His victory over the Hydra was not just a testament to his physical prowess, but also to his ability to think critically and adapt in the face of overwhelming odds. The myth of the Hydra resonates deeply because it mirrors the struggles we all face in life. Like Heracles, we often encounter problems that seem to grow more complex the harder we try to solve them. The Hydra's many heads represent the layers of difficulty that can arise when tackling a challenge. Each time we think we've made progress, new obstacles emerge. But the story reminds us that perseverance, creativity, and collaboration can help us overcome even the most insurmountable tasks. As we reflect on Heracles' triumph, we're reminded that the greatest victories often come from facing our fears head-on and refusing to give up, no matter how impossible the odds may seem. And with this lesson in mind, we prepare to explore the next myth, where the dangers of temptation and the power of music take center stage in the story of the Sirens. From the swamps of Lerna, where Heracles faced the Hydra, we now set sail into the treacherous waters of the Aegean Sea, where danger takes on a far more seductive form. Here we encounter the Sirens, creatures whose enchanting voices lured sailors to their doom. Unlike the Hydra, whose threat was physical and immediate, the Sirens wielded a weapon far more insidious: music. Their songs were said to be so irresistibly beautiful that any sailor who heard them would be drawn irresistibly toward the rocky shores, where their ships would crash and their lives would end. The Sirens, often depicted as part woman, part bird, were not just mythical beings but symbols of temptation itself. Their voices promised knowledge, pleasure, and secrets of the universe, but these promises were a trap. The allure of their song was so powerful that even the most seasoned sailors, like Odysseus, had to take extraordinary measures to resist it. In Homer's Odyssey, Odysseus, warned of the Sirens' danger, ordered his crew to plug their ears with beeswax and tie him to the mast of his ship. He wanted to hear their song but knew he could not succumb to its pull. As the ship passed the Sirens' island, Odysseus strained against his bonds, desperate to follow the music, but his foresight and the loyalty of his crew saved him from destruction. This myth speaks to the universal struggle against temptation. The Sirens represent the things in life that draw us in, promising fulfillment but often leading to ruin. Their song is a metaphor for the allure of shortcuts, distractions, and desires that can derail us from our goals. Odysseus's solution, binding himself to the mast, symbolizes the importance of self-discipline and the recognition that sometimes we must take drastic measures to protect ourselves from our own weaknesses. But the story of the sirens also highlights the dual nature of music and art. While their song was deadly, it was also undeniably beautiful. This duality reflects the power of creativity to both inspire and corrupt. Music, like any form of art, can uplift and enlighten, but it can also be used to manipulate and deceive. The sirens remind us to approach beauty and pleasure with caution, to question what lies beneath the surface, and to remain vigilant against the things that might lead us astray. As we leave the sirens behind, we carry with us a deeper understanding of the dangers of temptation and the importance of self-control. Their story serves as a timeless warning, urging us to stay true to our course even when the world offers us seemingly irresistible distractions. And with this lesson in mind, we prepare to face another mythical challenge, where cunning and survival take center stage in the encounter between Odysseus and the Cyclops. As we navigate away from the seductive dangers of the sirens, we find ourselves on the rugged shores of an island inhabited by a creature far more monstrous, the Cyclops. This one-eyed giant named Polyphemus plays a pivotal role in one of the most thrilling episodes of Odysseus's journey. The encounter between Odysseus and Polyphemus is not just a tale of survival but a masterclass in cunning and the perils of arrogance. When Odysseus and his men land on the island, they stumble upon the cave of Polyphemus, a son of Poseidon. At first, the Cyclops appears hospitable, but his true nature quickly reveals itself. He traps Odysseus and his crew inside the cave, blocking the entrance with a massive boulder. One by one, he devours the men, showcasing his brute strength and utter disregard for human life. This horrifying scene sets the stage for Odysseus's greatest test of wit and resourcefulness. Odysseus, known for his cleverness, devises a plan to escape. He offers Polyphemus wine, intoxicating the giant until he falls into a deep sleep. While the Cyclops slumbers, Odysseus and his remaining men sharpen a wooden stake and drive it into Polyphemus's single eye, blinding him. The next morning, when Polyphemus opens the cave to let his sheep out, Odysseus and his men cling to the undersides of the animals, escaping unnoticed. It's a brilliant display of strategy, proving that intelligence can triumph over sheer strength. But the story doesn't end there. As Odysseus sails away, his pride gets the better of him. He reveals his true name to Polyphemus, boasting of his victory. This act of arrogance has dire consequences. Polyphemus, enraged, calls upon his father, Poseidon, to curse Odysseus, setting in motion a series of trials that prolong the hero's journey home. This moment serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of hubris. Even the cleverest among us can be undone by overconfidence. The myth of the Cyclops is rich with themes that resonate across time. It highlights the importance of cunning and adaptability in the face of overwhelming odds. Odysseus's ability to think on his feet and outsmart a far stronger opponent is a testament to the power of intellect over brute force. At the same time, the story warns against the pitfalls of arrogance. Odysseus's decision to reveal his name, driven by pride, nearly costs him everything. This myth also reflects the ancient Greek understanding of the natural world. The Cyclops, with his single eye and monstrous size, represents the untamed, chaotic forces of nature. Odysseus's victory over Polyphemus symbolizes humanity's struggle to overcome these forces through ingenuity and perseverance. Yet, the story also acknowledges that nature and the gods cannot be fully controlled. Poseidon's wrath serves as a reminder that even the most cunning plans can be thwarted by forces beyond our understanding. As we leave the island of the Cyclops behind, we carry with us a deeper appreciation for the balance between intelligence and humility. Odysseus's encounter with Polyphemus teaches us that while cleverness can save us from immediate danger, it must be tempered with wisdom and restraint. And with these lessons in mind, we prepare to delve into the next chapter of Odysseus's Odyssey, where the stakes grow even higher and the challenges more complex. Now, as we turn our gaze from the monstrous Cyclops, we find ourselves drawn into a tale of beauty, rivalry, and the seeds of war, the myth of the golden apple. This story begins with a wedding, but not just any wedding. It's the marriage of Peleus and Thetis, a mortal hero and a sea nymph, attended by gods and goddesses from across Olympus. Yet, amidst the celebration, an uninvited guest arrives, Eris, the goddess of discord. Angered by her exclusion, she tosses a golden apple into the crowd, inscribed with the words, "To the fairest." This simple act sets off a chain of events that would shape the fate of mortals and gods alike. The apple becomes a symbol of vanity and desire, as three goddesses, Hera, Athena, and Aphrodite, each claim it for themselves. Unable to resolve the dispute, Zeus appoints Paris, a mortal prince of Troy, to judge who is the fairest. This decision, seemingly small, carries the weight of destiny. Paris, young and impressionable, is swayed not by wisdom or justice, but by the promises each goddess offers. Hera offers power and dominion over kingdoms, Athena promises wisdom and victory in battle, and Aphrodite tempts him with the love of the most beautiful woman in the world, Helen of Sparta. Paris, blinded by desire, awards the apple to Aphrodite, sealing his fate and igniting the spark that would lead to the Trojan War. The myth of the golden apple is a profound exploration of vanity, jealousy, and the inescapable grip of fate. The goddesses, despite their divine status, are driven by human-like flaws, pride, envy, and the need for validation. Paris, too, becomes a pawn in their rivalry, his choice reflecting the allure of immediate gratification over long-term consequences. This story also serves as a reminder of how seemingly small decisions can have far-reaching impacts. Paris's judgment not only brings about his own downfall, but also plunges the ancient world into a decade-long war, claiming countless lives and reshaping the course of history. It's a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked ambition and the ripple effects of our choices. As we reflect on the golden apple, we see how deeply intertwined the lives of mortals and gods are in Greek mythology. The gods, though powerful, are not immune to pettiness, and their actions often have devastating consequences for humanity. This myth also underscores the ancient Greek belief in the inevitability of fate. Despite the gods meddling, the outcome feels predestined, as if every choice leads inexorably to the same tragic end. With the golden apple setting the stage for one of the most famous conflicts in mythology, we now prepare to explore the Trojan War itself, a saga of heroism, betrayal, and the enduring cost of human ambition. But before we do, let's take a moment to consider the lessons of this myth, the dangers of vanity, the weight of our decisions, and the ever-present hand of fate guiding our paths. Now, as we leave behind the chaos of the golden apple and the Trojan War, let us turn our attention to a myth that offers a striking contrast, a tale of hope, renewal, and the eternal cycle of life and death. This is the story of the phoenix, a creature whose very existence embodies the idea of rebirth and transformation. The phoenix is a magnificent bird, said to be cloaked in radiant feathers of gold and crimson, with a lifespan that stretches for centuries. But what makes the phoenix truly extraordinary is its death and rebirth. When its time comes to an end, the phoenix builds a nest of aromatic branches and spices, igniting itself in a blaze of fire. From the ashes, a new phoenix rises, young and vibrant, ready to begin the cycle anew. This myth, though not as prominently featured in Greek mythology as others, holds profound significance. The phoenix represents the idea that destruction is not an end but a necessary step toward renewal. It's a powerful symbol of resilience, reminding us that even in the face of loss or devastation, there is always the potential for new beginnings. The concept of the phoenix resonates far beyond Greek mythology. It appears in various cultures, from ancient Egypt to Chinese folklore, each interpreting the bird's symbolism in unique ways. In every iteration, the phoenix serves as a universal emblem of hope, transformation, and the enduring spirit of life. For the ancient Greeks, the phoenix also carried a deeper philosophical meaning. It reflected their understanding of the natural world, where cycles of growth, decay, and regeneration are ever present. The phoenix's story mirrors the changing seasons, the rising and setting of the sun, and even the human experience of overcoming adversity. This myth invites us to reflect on our own lives. How do we respond to challenges or setbacks? Do we see them as endings or as opportunities for growth and renewal? The phoenix reminds us that even in our darkest moments, there is the potential for rebirth, a chance to rise again, stronger and wiser than before. As we prepare to delve into the final myth of our journey, the story of the underworld, let the phoenix's message linger in our minds. It's a testament to the enduring power of hope and the belief that no matter how dire the circumstances, life always finds a way to begin anew. Now, as we step away from the fiery rebirth of the phoenix, let us descend into the shadowy depths of the Greek underworld, a realm as mysterious as it is fascinating. This is the domain of Hades, the god of the dead, and it plays a central role in countless myths, offering profound insights into how the ancient Greeks viewed life, death, and what lies beyond. The underworld, known as the realm of Hades, was not a place of punishment for all souls, as some might imagine. Instead, it was a vast, complex world divided into different regions, each serving a distinct purpose. At its entrance lay the river Styx, the boundary between the living and the dead, where the ferryman Charon would transport souls across, but only if they had the proper burial rites and a coin to pay their passage. Once inside, souls would face judgment. The virtuous and heroic might find themselves in the Elysian fields, a paradise of eternal peace and happiness. Those who lived ordinary lives were sent to the asphodel meadows, a neutral, shadowy place where souls wandered without joy or sorrow. And for the wicked, there was Tartarus, a deep abyss of torment reserved for the most heinous crimes, where figures like Sisyphus and Tantalus endured their eternal punishments. Hades himself, often misunderstood, was not a malevolent figure but a stern and just ruler. He maintained order in his realm, ensuring that the natural cycle of life and death remained intact. His wife, Persephone, played a crucial role in this balance. Her annual journey between the underworld and the surface world symbolized the changing seasons, linking the realm of the dead to the rhythms of life above. The underworld also served as a setting for some of the most poignant myths in Greek mythology. The story of Orpheus and Eurydice, for instance, highlights the power of love and the limits of mortal ambition. Orpheus's descent into the underworld to retrieve his beloved Eurydice is a tale of hope, loss, and the inevitability of fate. Similarly, the myth of Heracles retrieving the three-headed dog Cerberus showcases the hero's strength and determination, while also emphasizing the boundaries between the living and the dead. For the ancient Greeks, the underworld was more than just a mythical location. It was a reflection of their beliefs about morality, justice, and the afterlife. It reinforced the idea that actions in life had consequences in death, and that the soul's journey did not end with the body's demise. This concept of an afterlife provided comfort to many, offering a sense of order and meaning in the face of life's uncertainties. As we conclude our exploration of the underworld, we are reminded of its enduring significance in Greek mythology. It is a realm that bridges the mortal and the divine, the known and the unknown, offering timeless lessons about the human experience. And with this final myth, we bring our journey through 30 ancient Greek stories to a close, each one revealing hidden truths about the world, the gods, and ourselves. Thank you for joining us on this adventure through the myths of ancient Greece. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more deep dives into history, mythology, and the mysteries of the past. Until next time, keep exploring the stories that shape our world. As we wrap up our journey through these 30 ancient Greek myths, it's clear that these stories are far more than just tales of gods and heroes. They are windows into the human experience, offering timeless insights into love, loss, ambition, and the mysteries of life and death. From the creation of the world to the depths of the underworld, each myth reveals a hidden truth about the values, fears, and aspirations of the ancient Greeks and, in many ways, about ourselves. These myths remind us that the struggles and triumphs of the past are not so different from our own. The courage of Perseus, the curiosity of Pandora, the resilience of Odysseus, they all echo in our lives today. Even the cautionary tales, like the fall of Icarus or the greed of King Midas, serve as powerful reminders of the consequences of our actions. What makes these stories truly enduring is their ability to adapt and resonate across generations. They've inspired art, literature, and even modern psychology, proving that the questions they raise about fate, free will, and the nature of the divine are as relevant now as they were thousands of years ago. So, what's your favorite Greek myth? Was it the tragic love of Orpheus and Eurydice, the cunning of Odysseus, or perhaps the eternal struggle of Sisyphus? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear which story spoke to you the most. And if you're hungry for more, there's a whole world of mythology waiting to be explored. Thank you for joining us on this epic adventure through the myths of ancient Greece. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a deep dive into history, mythology, and the mysteries of the past. Until next time, keep exploring the stories that shape our world.